This show contains explicit content not suitable for children under 18. Unless you're a cool kid or your mom says it's alright. Side effects may include laughter, anger, crying, touching yourself, killing yourself. If you like our videos, follow, subscribe to this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts. The allegations about me are not true. Or are they? Thanks. No one's trying to make this video.
We're good. This is dedicated to all the kids like me.
How does his son continue?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Daniel, and this is the Brandon and Daniel podcast. To my left today is a special guest. Someone you may know him from the Larn Boys show, the vlog god, the collector of gems from the times past, present, and future. He's a brother, a son, a friend, a leader, a wolf amongst men, a man of many forms. Give it up for my guy, Sideburns.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me.
What's going on, brother?
Same old. Ready to get into it.
Yeah?
A lot to talk about.
We really do, dude. Honestly, I really want to start off with what is going on Monday. It is Inauguration Day. How do you feel about, President-elect? Like, you supporting it? You like it?
I like it. I think it's the best option we got, out of the options we had.
Dude.
Legitimate or non-legitimate,
Honestly,
depends how you look at it.
I think I saw a video that was kind of saying that Biden nominated Kamala because he knew that she couldn't beat Trump.
Yeah.
But then I don't know, man. They seemed pretty adamant that she was possibly going to win, dude.
They were very confident, I believe they really thought she had it. They did a lot of scamming in the background as well, though. The fact that she was the Democratic nominee, I think, was all politics. She did not earn that place. She scrambled to say anything that she could say to get into that place, especially in the final months. It slowly got downhill more and more.
No, I definitely feel like she was if anyone was a puppet for a higher person or group, it would definitely have been her, But I remember the last time, what was it, 4 years ago? Actually, it passed already. Yesterday, no. When was January 6th?
Last week. It was the anniversary, January 6th. I think it's been 4 years. 4 years since January 6th.
Now, let's get into a little bit of January 6th.
So I was there on January 6th. I saw the media and all of its corruption that day.
You were on... Wait, dude, were you not on the news, or am I bugging?
I was... I was kind of on the news, not really on the news. I was in the background of a lot of productions. There were music videos being shot at the Capitol. There were movies being shot. There were documentaries and news people, so...
Was Netflix there?
Netflix wasn't there, but there were some guys from InfoWars there, a lot of big names, Alex Jones wasn't there, but...
The Turn the Frogs gay!
His henchmen, the Turn the Frogs gay!
Alex Jones henchmen. Now, there's probably a certain group of people that I would not want to be approached by in a dark alleyway, and it's probably Alex Jones' henchmen.
Yeah.
Because I can only imagine what the fuck they're going to get into. But yeah, no, so January 6th, you didn't go inside, did you?
I was not in the Capitol on January 6th.
All right. No,
personally.
Let's clarify.
I went with the group of guys.
Did anyone you go with went inside?
Yeah, so I went with 4 people, 2 of my buddies and my brother. My brother was my cameraman for the day. We were on the streets filming. And then my 2 friends, we actually got split up from them. So we were on the back of the Capitol, and then they were in the front of the Capitol. So they actually got almost pushed in. But they were really up in the front. They were in the front when Ashley Babbitt died after they shot her.
The girl that tried to jump into the window, right?
Yeah, so they killed her in the Capitol, and then they saw her, her body go out and stuff. So I got some footage of that, and we saw the blood in the streets, saw her get carted out.
That's insane, dude. What were you saying?
And I was on the back end at the time, right? And these cops, man, they were everywhere. I got tear gas, pepper sprayed. They were blasting everybody from every angle.
The canisters and shit?
With the canisters, the shooters, the guns.
Damn.
So we started to improvise with what we had out there. We were using our water bottles, and we were, popping holes in the water bottles, spraying our eyes out.
Oh, shit.
We ended up meeting a few other guys out there that we were talking with, interviewing, and hanging out with. It was a crazy event. There is no doubt in my mind January 6th was infiltrated, whether it was by the government, which we already know the FBI for sure infiltrated, but there were people on both sides. I mean, I watched people myself in the bushes, go in the bushes, change into clothing, either Trump clothing or Antifa clothing.
Like deep state actors.
It was deep state actors.
Sorry to interrupt this podcast, but the producer told me I need to tell everyone to like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can get the full video version on YouTube. If you like our stuff, share this with a friend. If not, who gives a fuck? Now let's get back into the show.
There was a lot of inside stuff going on that day.
I honestly find it hard to believe also that people got into such a secure building without almost being let in.
So that's exactly what I'm going to tell you. You know, that's the biggest thing, right? How did everybody get into the Capitol? It was all planned. I was not one of the first people up to the gates, but I was close enough to the first people up to the gates that I saw the cops physically open the gates and wave people into the Capitol.
Come on in, fucking take pictures like it's a fucking museum.
Yeah, because there was a planned event. There were speakers who were supposed to speak after Trump spoke down at the Oculus further down at the Capitol by the White House and Capitol Hill more.
Yeah.
So he had his event at, I think it was about 8, 9 in the morning. He spoke, and then he directed everybody to head down to the Capitol for the other speakers. And
so it was just to go see. It wasn't like oh, go down there and start like causing trouble and causing a ruckus and all this other shit.
No, it was the second part of the planned event.
See, no one knows that. I feel like that it was like whole thing, like a whole day of like events for speakers, whereas people kind of made it sound like it was just a bunch of angry citizens that went and broke into this fucking building.
That's what our modern day media does, you know. It makes a lot of people not understand the truth. As someone who was there, I was getting into journalism at the time. It was one of the first videos I did. I threw myself into it, and I really learned that day, like, that's the true reason we need small media, because what I witnessed there in person was a huge tailgate party. You know what I mean? Guys drinking beers at 7 in the morning, listening to country music, hanging out. It was probably one of the biggest events at the Capitol we've seen in history. They reported only 500,000 people, but there was over 2 million people at the Capitol that day.
Jesus.
When you hear like them talking the Bible about a sea of people, like that's a sea of people.
Yeah.
As far as the eye can see, I mean, amazing. I'll never experience that city the same way again, probably.
I mean, maybe if you go Monday.
Yeah, I might have to go. There's an event there Sunday as well, first one since January 6th. And Rescue the Republic event as well.
Is it going to be an event also held in honor of TikTok being shut down, you think?
I wonder. You know, that's the biggest elephant in the room right now. Everybody with TikTok, everybody's scrambling to see what's going to happen, you know?
Do you really think that TikTok, like, there's actually, like, spies, like TikTok spies, like, stealing our info,
I don't know
everything?
necessarily if they're spies, but I know it's a threat to our government because it's the only free speech platform that we have, the only non-controlled platform. It's dangerous for them because someone like me and you can post on that platform, and all of a sudden we could meet up with each other. We could connect with a community of people that otherwise we wouldn't ever be able to connect with, not in the same way.
Yeah, I feel like Twitter. I feel like Twitter is kind of getting. I don't really go on Twitter as much. Well, it's X now.
Me either. But Elon Musk's X.
Yeah. So like before COVID, like pre-COVID, I feel like Twitter was definitely the place to, you know, go out there and express your, you know, thoughts and say whatever you wanted to say. And then it got censored hard. Yeah. Like, I think now X definitely, out of all the social media apps, like Facebook, like all the big ones, I think that one started getting censored the most, especially with people trying to really get down to the bottom of what's going on, or, you know, really trying to get the real news out there, like small media groups like yourself. Yeah.
I 100% agree. You know, I think that it held for a decent while on the platform until, like you said, you know, it always ends up with a heavy amount of censorship. Yeah. Even though Elon Musk fired a bunch of people and did everything he tried to do, even now there's still a heavy amount of censorship between Facebook, Instagram, just about every platform except TikTok. Yeah. You know, which is a big portion of, I think, why they want it gone so bad. They can't control what people say. No. There's a lot of big stuff on there.
And you know what? A lot of the times, like, if I watch any kind of news clips, it's always like foreign. So I usually watch like Sky News clips from Australia. And they always come up on TikTok, and it's always shit that's going on that you never hear about. Like I feel like the news here, it's literally all one company that just tweaks and tweaks and tweaks, and they might say different things, but they all basically report on the same thing. Yeah. And it's all an agenda, I feel like.
It's all about control, and it's all an agenda. And that's what I saw on January 6th. You know, I saw how they really can push an agenda. I got back to the hotel room after that, man, and I turned the news on, and it wasn't where I was. I was there 10 minutes ago. I saw everything. I was there until they basically pushed everybody out. And the way they lie and the way they spin things to make the people fear, whether it's the two-party system in itself, the Republican versus Democrat, the whole fraud in itself that I believe that is as well, to pin the people against each other. You know?
I just don't like how they made it seem like Trump is out here demanding people go down there and like do something.
Yeah, and it's as simple as just listening to his speech that day too, and hearing what he said, and checking out the behind the scenes and the facts of it. There were people who had the permits, they had everything they needed, they were supposed to have a podium set up for them when they reached the Capitol, and none of that was there.
But like, dude, if you think about it, like, the government has always been up to some shady shit. Like, this is just like a rally. But think about back in the day, like MK Ultra, like all the tests that they were doing on people. Like, dude, like, I don't know, man. Like, what are like some of the things that like people consider a conspiracy, but like the government actually has done? Like, all of it,
almost all of it is true. Some of it gets a little bit crazy, but ever since they killed John F. Kennedy, I mean, we have been infiltrated. We have been infiltrated since then. We have done heinous acts of crime, war, stealing. And it is disgusting.
So
we're our biggest enemy is inside our own government. Between MK Ultra, the projects in, what they like to call Area 51, I think that's a fraud.
I think that's definitely just a front for other things. Like, way deeper. Like, let's concentrate on like Area 51 where aliens are. Like, dude, there's up to some other
There's so many more too. You got the Montauk Project. That's another big one.
And it's really wild because people don't realize that Stranger Things, one of the biggest shows ever released in our time on Netflix, right, is based on the Montauk Project.
It's a true story.
It's basically like they were taking kids that they thought had some kind of like what would you call it? Like
telekinesis
ability,
or some other abilities as well. Anyone with a special ability, they would basically take in and test on them. Sometimes they would add drugs and things to enhance performance within these children, as well as introduce frequencies. Frequencies and vibration are a big thing too, not only with our everyday lives, but with the way people are able to use powers and manifestation and control things with their mind, like telekinesis.
If you could have like one, I guess you call it superpower, like what would you want to be able to do? Like move shit with your brain, or like?
I think telekinesis. Yeah. Move shit with your brain,
If I'm being honest, I would want to be able to teleport, bro.
Yeah.
Like, just pop up anywhere I want to at any time. But, I don't know, I feel like that can get real messy real quick.
It can. I believe teleportation isn't something that's completely out of the picture, though. It's more than realistic. And there's been files and documents the CIA has on them that you could go look at, too. They have actual documents that they show you how you can walk through walls, and it's all goes back to the frequency thing.
Yeah.
You have the correct frequencies, I think anything is possible. But it's about learning and understanding frequencies as well.
Yeah, I remember you were saying about how like words have like frequencies and vibrations and feelings and all that.
So every word has a frequency, right? If you say like something like love, I love you in English and German and Italian or whatever language, right? If you could physically see the frequency, people do tests on, let's say, water, right? If you electrify the water, you can see the frequency. There's also a machine called an oscilloscope. And back in the day, they would use that. And that also puts into picture frequencies. So you can see the frequencies. So all of those words, if they're words that have a good frequency, an uplifting frequency, you'll be able to see that. And they'll all have the same frequency in every language, every word. As well as if it's a bad word, it'll have a bad frequency. And put off. That's why they have good feelings. When you say good things or bad feelings, you can physically feel it.
I feel like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, you could say probably something really nice and positive in almost any language, and like, you don't have to understand it, but I feel like you'll kind of understand.
Yeah.
You
can feel.
Yeah, it's a good thing, that they're saying. No, but the frequency thing is really wild, dude, and like being able to pass through like walls and stuff. It is.
And the CIA dumped a lot of money into that stuff. A lot of money. All they did for years was get into sketchy stuff, and I'm sure they still do. The Alphabet Boys are some of the most corrupt people in our government.
I was going to say the Alphabet Boys. I think about that first.
Yeah. ATF, CIA, FBI, all of them. They all get their hands in places they don't need to, whether it's overthrowing a government or assassinating someone.
I feel like they're really good at both of those things.
Yeah. Like creating the Taliban, destabilizing the Middle East. They do it all.
Yo, didn't what was it, Osama bin Laden? Who was it that trained with the military?
Osama bin Laden was a CIA informant, yeah. He worked with us for years. There's a lot of documents on that, too. I believe we were infiltrated before 9/11. I believe these guys came in, they had access to the building. They were able to load it up with something. It's clearly a controlled demolition, You ask a lot of guys who were out there too for it, a lot of guys who worked out there, they'll tell you the same thing.
Yeah, some sketchy shit.
It's not what it seems to be at all. I do think they hijacked some planes. I think they needed something to put out there. They needed a believable story for the people, and they needed a blame guy. And that's where Osama bin Laden came in, you know. They wanted to basically start all these wars out there. They wanted to destabilize the Middle East. They created ISIS. They wanted the oil. They wanted the money. It's always about the money.
At the end of the day, it's always about the money.
And the poppy seeds. Our soldiers are out there.
I didn't realize about the poppy seeds.
Our soldiers are out there destroying homes, destroying places. Their friends are dying for a fake war. These guys, they come back. They yell at Bush in his face. You know, you see videos of these veterans telling him, "You killed my friends for nothing. You lied about weapons of mass destruction. You lied about everything. We went out there and all we did was steal a bunch of their gold, steal a bunch of their oil, steal their drugs to bring it back and sell it to our low-income communities."
Insane.
That's what the DEA, the ATF, that's what they're really doing.
That's the thing. Like, they're always talking about like a war on crime, like a war on, I don't want to say war on crime, a war on drugs, like a war on drugs. But like, think about it. How much money does that, you know?
It brings in a lot of money for them.
Like, think about it.
They
like,
created the war on drugs.
In order to have a war on drugs, you have to let drugs come into the country. Like,
and we're the biggest drug dealers in the world. Cargo planes full of it back here.
Yeah, that's like
I've heard it. I've heard it from people who were in the service in the 70s, 80s, and I'm sure they're still doing it now.
That guy, what's his name? Didn't he work for the FBI or CIA, some shit? He flew the coke for...
yeah, sometimes there's a lot of first-hand accounts of people who come out.
Apparently,
most people like that do get schwacked, and I want to state for the record, I am not suicidal. I do not want to die. I have plans for my future.
I have things to do tomorrow.
I am not going to kill myself. So... I'm not going to get Ella Epstein. I'm not going to end up like McAfee. You know, you are the target at the end of the day. You cannot say anything. They watch you. The FBI will question you. I've been questioned by the FBI
no, you haven't.
For January 6th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They approached you?
Yeah, yeah.
They came to your house?
They reached out to a lot of guys. Not in person.
I was going to say,
but most of the time...
pull up to my house, I'm not answering the door. Sorry.
My companion, one of the guys I filmed with, though, they met him in person. But they watched my video. Obviously, I was there protected under the First Amendment, freedom of speech. I was a journalist. But yeah, you know, if you went inside, you definitely were in some hot shit for something.
Yeah.
They raided so many people's homes for that. Elderly ladies, you know. And it was all a fraud. They opened those doors. They had the camera crews and the news ready. Those cops toured people through the building, you know. Tucker Carlson exposed all this on Fox News on a special about January 6th. Information that, I'm going to be honest, most of us knew previously.
Yeah.
You know? It was all just to put it on the news, just to parade around that this insurrection happened that never happened. You know, and unfortunately, someone died. Ashley Babbitt, a veteran of our country.
Didn't a few people actually die too?
And a few people did die. They say Capitol Police died. So one of the Capitol Police officers was actually an alumni from the high school that I went to here in New Jersey. And I believe they killed him. They said he was one of the first police officers to die, supposedly on the front lines of the Capitol. They say they beat his head in with a fire extinguisher and killed him.
Who's beating police at the front?
There is no video footage of it. I didn't see it. I was there. I was close enough to the front lines. I don't believe anybody died. And I don't believe he died. Tucker Carlson also exposed that. They actually found the video of him. They put it on the news. Walking around in the Capitol 3 hours after he was supposedly killed outside. So I believe that they killed him. I believe a lot of these Capitol Police officers saw something happen that day. They wanted to speak out against it, and they got schwacked as well.
But what I don't understand is if these people really wanted to cause harm to these police officers, they would have did.
We know the FBI was infiltrated the day before with Ray Epps. You know, he was out there in the street trying to incite violence the night before, and then he was on the FBI's most wanted list, and then all of a sudden they took him down. People found out he was a Fed, you know.
Huh.
A lot of them are Feds.
Just informants for the people.
A lot of other informants too. Not only was Osama an informant, you know, Epstein was an informant. A lot of them for the Mossad as well. Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, Robert Maxwell.
Real quick, hold on. What did you tell me the other day, dude, about Ghislaine Maxwell's father, bro?
Yeah. So Ghislaine Maxwell's father.
Yes.
Robert Maxwell, that's his American name. You know, he has a different name, which ties to the country of Israel, which is in a different language. But he was also a Mossad agent working for Israel. And he actually purchased the McGraw Hill textbooks in 1990. And that's basically all the textbooks that I learned out of, anybody I know learned out of. The past 35 years, they've been using McGraw Hill.
It's almost like, dude, like we've been conditioned to, not look past, but like be taught certain things. What they can hide things so much easier when one person or one group owns the company that makes the books that fucking teaches all the kids and everyone in America that end up, dude, that's just some sketchy shit.
Everything we know about our history is a lie, from the Civil War up to us now, the reasons why we're living this life now. Even before then, we don't know anything, right? The one who wins the war writes the history. That's what I like to say. History is his story, history. So we don't know. We can only know so much, even not being there, even with files and documents being released, even with doing hours and hours of research and dedicating your life to just not stop reading and reading and reading. You truly won't know the truth, but you can make assumptions and you have to make your own conclusions. I always tell people, look at all the facts, look at everything and make the conclusion for yourself. Don't let me decide for you. There's so much information out there.
Yeah, no, you can't force people to want to look past things, dude. I wish you could, because there's a lot of people out there that I know that I wish if they just looked at the bigger picture and looked past all the bullshit that everyone's trying to feed, get out there. I feel like everyone would just be in a fucking better place, dude.
Yeah. There's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, man. It's just brainwashing, honestly.
It is. It's all conditioning. It's all the mass media. Mass media is all controlled. It's all owned by a small number of people. And they get to decide. They get to decide what it is you want to see, what it is you watch, and what you believe. Because most people don't do the research. Most people are just so conditioned. They watch whatever news they watch. They don't go outside the box. They don't want to hear. Even when our government comes out and says something like everything with the Supreme Court hearings and the aliens, nobody cares. Nobody cares.
Yeah, and which honestly went nowhere. Like no one's talked about it since.
At the end of the day, it was kind of just confirming what anybody who already knew. And those were the only people who cared anyway.
You saw a UFO, right?
I did. I saw a UFO in Pennsylvania. There's a interesting lore behind it, So that area of Pennsylvania and this northeast region of the United States had a lot of sightings after World War II. And then it kind of dwindled down. And then I saw my sighting, I think it was 2021, of the UFO.
Yeah, I remember you sent me the picture, bro. And I tweaked it a little bit, enhanced
enhanced the photo. Definitely put the picture.
You're in the middle of the woods, bro. And
so we were all just, sitting back, having some drinks, shooting guns, doing whatever. And, then it got a little later and we were sitting by the fire. It got dark out. And I looked above the horizon, man, and we saw this craft that was beyond anything I've seen in my entire life. I've seen a lot of shit, but this right here was something that I have never seen. And I've seen it for myself now. There was no telling.
Yeah.
What I was looking at was definitely 110% a spacecraft, Yeah. So I did a little more research when I got home after that. I had you enhance the photo, and I started digging into this area in Pennsylvania. And there were rumors that back in the day, there was an old experimental base there where they would do different experiments, supposedly, but a lot of people in the area, upper northeast region, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, upstate New York mostly, would see this.
Like experiments on people, or just like random kind of
flying experiments, saucers, stuff in the sky type of deal. So after World War II, we took back a lot of Nazi scientists, especially like people, Wernher von Braun, the creator of NASA. He had on his tombstone the verse from Psalms. It says the waters split the waters from the firmament. So these guys, they knew there was something going on, especially the Nazis. They worked with aliens. I 100% believe that they have the technology,
1,000%.
And we stole it from them. That's why we got so advanced so quick. These guys were working with the aliens, for sure. They had the base up in Antarctica, New Schwabenland. And that's where I believe they got the Element 115, which a lot of people might famously know from Call of Duty. But Element 115 is a real element that was used by them.
What is it? What is it?
It's an out-of-this-world element that allows for gravitational...
so it's almost
some sort of gravitational...
That's almost like the thing that what's-his-name talked about on the Rogan podcast. The guy that worked at that base. Bob Lazar. The guy the element that made things be able to move.
And that's the element, 115.
Okay, defies gravity.
So it's not just a fake
Yeah, they fucking
element
found
from a
gravity,
game.
basically.
It is basically a gravitational element. Yeah, which was found by the Nazis in Antarctica at New Schwabenland, their base. So after the war, a lot of us Americans, we started going out there to look for Nazis, and we found the base. So there's actual documentation of the UFO spacecrafts. And then you can see submarines, Nazi submarines.
Yeah, that's
so they had an entire base there.
They had the, what was it, the Nazi, it was like a bell-shaped.
Yeah, so it's famously called the Glocka, which is known the bell. And they call it that because the UFO itself looked like a bell. And that's the one that was spotted a lot in that area. I didn't personally think I saw the Glocka because it was a different shape. But I do believe it was a spacecraft. And I believe that they were using the same technology, if not better technology than they had back in the 40s.
I remember, I don't remember where I saw the video, but in Poland, I think it was literally what you're explaining. It looked like a bell.
Yeah.
But it was like UFO.
So there were sightings all over Europe, and specifically in Poland, because you could still go there. They have, it's almost like this set of a frame. It's like this frame that they would chain in the Glocka. So it's actually there where they did the experiments with this bell. So it existed, and all over Europe, specifically Poland, though, there was a heavy amount of sightings during the war and before the war. They were probably working with the aliens for years and years before the aliens came to America and Russia, and Val Thor presented himself to us right around the timeline of where JFK got killed as well. So there's a lot of sketchy stuff with the aliens now. But they've got their hands somewhere in everything. We got technology from them. Our cell phones in our pockets.
Cell phones,
everything we have, we got from them.
Like, think about it, because I know you have you have hobbies and stuff, and you like collecting antiques and stuff.
Yeah.
And think about I remember in your garage you have the TV that you can hook your just the fact that you can hook a MacBook or whatever laptop you have, a couple wires into a TV. When was it built?
From the 40s.
The 40s, and you could watch YouTube videos on it. The advancement in technology from that to now, it's just mind-boggling.
It happened very quick too.
No,
it's amazing advancements. It is, but it's dangerous. Everything we're seeing now, it's nice. It's a luxury for our people, but I think the Industrial Revolution has destroyed society. I think we're just in a bad place. I think Ted Kaczynski had a lot to say about that. If you haven't read his manifesto, I would read that.
I have not.
But the entirety of the Industrial Revolution has destroyed society.
Yeah,
and we're seeing it every day around us, whether it's technology-based or factories, the work,
We used to have wireless electricity, the Tartarian times.
That's what we should have
Tesla.
Nowadays, but they hide everything from us. They hide the truth. The Tartarian Empire was here. I believe it was here, and we found it. We found the capital. Look into the Columbian Exposition, right? The World's Fairs. So we had the World's Fairs all over these massive, great cities, and you could find footage from that where they showed this technology. So Nikola Tesla, he actually did the 1930 World Fair.
Was that New York?
Whichever one was the New York World's Fair.
Yeah.
And he powered the World's Fair off of Niagara Falls. Completely wireless electricity. And free electricity.
The fact that Niagara Falls is all the way up in upstate.
Yeah.
And he was in, what was that, Queens?
It was, I think, Buffalo. New York.
Oh,
it was the Buffalo World's Fair.
Okay.
But his laboratory was in Long Island.
Oh, Chicago.
Yeah. So he had the Long Island laboratory where he had the famous Wardenclyffe Tower, which was one of the oldest forms that he rediscovered. So Wardenclyffe Tower was based upon the same technology that the pyramids were based upon. So it's basically a self-powering generator, right? You've got a coiled wire in his sense, but in the pyramids you have a smooth limestone with gold at the top. So each way has a different type of conductor. Yeah. So in his case, he had a specific coiled wire that was grounded into the earth, and that specific coil of wire is what allowed him to, it was almost like a radio frequency, right? You tune to a radio, you tune with the specifications of the wires in the building. So he was able to actually produce massive lightning bolts. He was able to power his entire laboratory, probably even cities, but they stopped him. They cut his funding. They didn't let him go any further. It's all about money.
Sorry to interrupt this podcast, but the producer told me I need to tell everyone to like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can get the full video version on YouTube. If you like our stuff, share this with a friend. If not, who gives a fuck? Now let's get back into the show. Didn't he get Clinton and then Clinton before it was Clinton and then or disappeared?
So,
but didn't Trump's like grandfather or uncle
they cut him off. They cut him off. He died alone with no money and all his plans basically stolen from him by the FBI. But one of them being John Trump, Trump's uncle, who was friends with Nikola Tesla. He took his journal, which is where they say they got the death ray from and a lot of his stuff that they still use today, because as much of it was kind of out of the ordinary for its time period, it was not completely impossible, especially his time travel device, which is the specific one that I believe John Trump actually was able to build.
Yo, with like that whole, was it Baron Trump?
Ingersoll Lockwood and Baron Trump and the Marvelous Adventures of Baron Trump.
That shit's insane, dude.
It's a crazy conspiracy.
Tell me time travel's not real.
But I do believe
You're
it's
lying
real.
to me, I swear to God.
These books are written in 1880 by Ingersoll Lockwood. All about Trump, all about stuff that's been happening in the world today. But Ingersoll Lockwood isn't just a person. Not just a person who looks like John McAfee, by the way, if you put the side-by-side picture. But Ingersoll Lockwood today
company
and nowadays is a company.
That's what I'm saying.
A company that's located in Washington, D.C., a few blocks away from the White House.
Bro, nothing makes sense. Either we're in a fucking simulation or I can't even explain it, bro.
So you gotta ask yourself, though.
Absolutely.
You gotta ask yourself, right? If John Trump did take this time machine, where is it today? It's in the hands of a company like Ingersoll Lockwood. It has to be
I thought you were saying
Ingersoll Lockwood. Lockheed Martin, maybe. There's private companies.
BlackRock.
Private companies do a lot of sketchy stuff. Elon Musk, I don't think is trustworthy.
Well, I don't think Elon Musk is a human.
I don't think he's trustworthy.
He's an alien, bro. He really just be walking around like this.
He is odd.
Then,
his figure is odd.
He owns how many companies, right? He's the richest man in the world, and then he's like the top Diablo player in the world. Like, I don't get it. How do you have time, brother? Like, I barely have time for work and just to fucking think for a second.
I think he's evil, though. There's stories, too, when he was a child. People talking about him opening portals and doing a lot of weird stuff. Whether that's true or not, I think...
Some Rick and Morty shit.
Delete all that even from the equation. He's still an odd guy. Everything he's doing would want to go to space and Mars. It's not biblical. It's not correct. I don't think... Even if there is space, I know there's upper atmosphere. You know, you watch him launch those rockets. Every one of those rockets curves. They all curve. They never go straight up. I do believe there's something out there, but as the creator of NASA himself, you know, Warner von Braun has on his tombstone, it's actually the only thing on his tombstone, the verse from Psalms. I'm not exactly sure the verse. I think it's verse 16:3 or something. I might be wrong, but it says the firmament splits the waters from the waters.
I think aliens are in the ocean, bro.
So that goes back to that as well. I think that's why, you know, we think space is there, whether it is or not. NASA was started for underwater exploration.
Yep.
We launched a bunch of nukes underwater.
No one knows
There's
this.
first-hand accounts of humans living in underwater bases with these people. You know what I mean?
Nobody knows this, bro. NASA was started to look in the ocean.
So I think Warner von Braun knew that. They didn't hide things, the Nazis, as much as America did. So their dealings with the aliens were a lot different. But I am very, very certain that they're underwater bases. There is a space, like they call it, but I believe that space is water. That's why when you see stuff that's so-called does go into space, you can see space ripple as well. Back to the frequency thing. You can see the frequency in the water through space.
And astronauts do train underwater.
Yeah, it's all underwater.
Bro, it's actually insane. Real quick, though, who's on your shirt, bro?
Paul Wozniak, Cerebral legend. He's just a cerebral guy, man. Just a cerebral guy, you know.
Yo, Larn, what's that stand for, bro?
So the Larn Boys, it was originally the Barn Boys, actually.
The Barn
And all the guys were hanging out one day. I wasn't there for this, actually. It was before me, before the Larn was even a show. And they were all at Paul's house. But they called Paul's house the Larn. So our boy, he was just hanging out at the house one day taking his shit, right? And he was like, yo, how much you guys want to bet I could call Paul Wozniak and be like, yo, instead of calling your house the Barn, why don't we call it the Larn? So they call him up. Yo, Paul. They say that or whatever, right? Let's call your house the Larn. And he was all with it. Yo, it's the Larn. So then all of a sudden it was the Larn Boys. You know, it just kind of happened out of nowhere. It was one of those things, you know. And ever since then, Paul Wozniak has been a true man of the people.
I feel like he looks like the mascot for the Larn.
Yeah, this is the Easter Sunday t-shirt.
Fresh fit.
Paul at the Easter Sunday. Gotta love it.
So, like, Larn, The Larn Boys. You guys
So then I created the Larn Boys, which ended up being a YouTube show. I started doing just journalism, what I originally wanted to do. And then it got crazy, turned into what I like to call the Psycho series.
Dude, I remember you guys used to pop out to the city, and Jimmy used to just be
Jimmy Choo,
dude.
my co-star, Jimmy Choo,
bro. Shout out Jimmy Choo.
Shout out Jimmy Choo, for real. Yeah, he brought a different life to the show. I was serious sometimes, but then he would just like always throw a curveball. Sometimes I don't even know if he was being serious or if it was just normal Jimmy. But man, he brought a different life to it. That's why I like to call what happened later in the season the Psycho series. So if you watch, the progression of Jimmy Choo throughout like 5 or 6 episodes, he slowly starts doing crazier and crazier stuff. And then it gets to the end where he finally flips out and ends up attacking people on video.
Like
and he got a gun pulled on him.
That's like Joshua Block before Joshua Block.
Yeah, the OG, you know what I mean? The real deal. Always funny.
What's that dude's name? Daniel Larson?
Daniel Larson. Yeah.
Jimmy Larn.
Jimmy Larn. Larn Jimmy.
Bro, Larn Jimmy. Holy shit, dude. Nah,
Larn Jimmy.
I remember the one video, dude, he just walked into, I don't remember where it was, but he was smoking inside of where he shouldn't have.
Yeah. In New York, probably the Oculus.
It was in New York
smoking
City.
a cigarette in the Oculus. Yep. Yeah.
Nah, dude,
we love
that's
Six
really
Inside.
wild.
Six
No,
Inside
Six Inside
everywhere.
is definitely the white wave, always. But real quick, how do I get for you? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is this?
I can't wait to see it.
I don't even know what the fuck it is.
It's a back to a TV remote. This is sweet. This might be the best thing. It says something on it. What does it say?
Brother.
Fever scan, an easy and safety way to know your body situation. Yeah. Is this like a
Production, what the fuck was that?
an anal probe? Fucking.
What the fuck was that, brother?
Now Dan's gonna bend over and we're gonna insert.
Bro, I don't even know. Dude, I was waiting for some cool. What the fuck is that?
This is. I'll cherish this
Holy shit!
for a long, long time.
I thought that was.
Spare.
I don't know why. I thought that was so fucking funny. Whoo, there's something wrong with me. I'm not okay upstairs, brother. Because why did I think that was the funniest thing ever? I'm sorry that everyone,
for us.
bro. I'm sorry everyone just saw me geek out over the back of a fucking TV remote. Oh my god!
These beers are hitting at just the right time,
Dude.
bro.
Oh god. I'm so sorry I cut you off for fucking the back of a TV.
What was I saying? I don't even remember.
Jimmy Choo smoking cigs inside.
Oh yeah, Six Inside. We love
Holy
Six Inside.
shit.
Shout out Jimmy Choo. Shout out Larn Dave.
Oh, dude, if you want to hit the vape since there's no cigs inside right here, help yourself, bro.
Say that.
Oh my god. You know where cigs inside are really good? They're the garage, bro. Your garage is sick as fuck.
For real.
You have mad shit.
I do.
Bro, you collect some cool shit.
I've been a historical preservationist and a collector now recently. Yeah.
You got it. Someone's got to keep it going.
Yeah.
I remember you went to, was it NJ Skate when they
Yeah, I
vans?
even local stuff. When anything local happens, I like to be on top of that. So I had to pop out for that. Shout out Chris Naracco. Shout out NJ Skate Shop. Big deal. Big deal for us in town. So it's a good homage. I was first in line.
it was
me
for
and my
like the
boy
Cerebral
Luke.
bricks,
Yeah,
right?
first in line. Yeah.
No, dude, big Cerebral, bro. I remember you took the brick. You took a picture with the brick.
Yeah.
And the sneaker, bro. It was one of the hardest bricks I've ever seen in my life.
They did a real good job with the craftsmanship on them. I was gonna wear them tonight. I should have too, but
What else do you collect though, bro? All right, so I said the TV before, and then the random things you have.
I do TVs, radios,
the
antique
record player's
music
dope as hell.
collectors. Yeah, the
But I
biggest
felt like
thing
in
is the antique music.
Yo, I wish I had some antique music going right now because I would definitely
It's a different feel,
bust out I would bust out an old move from back in the day.
Yeah.
When, radio was cool and they talk
Yeah,
like
a little
this.
transatlantic accent.
Little transatlantic accent.
Yeah, it's not like it, man. It's not like it. Like a nostalgic time. It's like you're longing for a time that you never saw, but truly the time to be alive.
I
Right?
think-
Cigs inside were everywhere back then. The doctors were smoking cigs.
Dude, I was gonna say I think one of my favorite things in your garage, but then I have multiple things. So it's either the piano that plays itself,
Mhm.
the TV that you can fucking hook up anything, the vintage Coke machine, which is dope as fuck, or the phone booth. Like, I have a lot of things.
It's a tough call.
That I like, dude. You have a lot of cool...
And it's
like,
only going to get bigger.
I don't know, for some reason, just like vintage shit, especially like old-timey shit, is really cool to me because that shit's like built to last for real, bro.
They lie. That goes back to what we were talking about with the Columbian Exposition, you know, in the World's Fairs, whether it was Chicago or New York. This technology 100 years ago was built better. We had all the things we have today. They lie about everything. They had electric cars back then, electric stoves. There's nothing now that we have that they didn't have then. Maybe the TVs and the way we carry electronics every day so they could do surveillance on us is different. But
like pigeons.
The old stuff, man, even like the pianos, like you were saying, the old music as well, it has a different frequency, a frequency of joy. It's not bringing you down like the modern music, you know. My piano specifically tuned to 425 hertz.
I remember you were saying that.
Frequency of joy, you know, brings joyous feeling. So
yeah, you were playing something.
Little things like that just all kind of come together with the way that you feel the music. And it affects your life. It does.
No, yeah, I remember you were playing something that just sounded different. And then you had the wax,
the cylinder.
Yeah, the cylinder
rolls and the player rolls. Yep, for the piano.
You said what was it? You had the speech for World War II or something. You had like some old.
Oh yeah, military records.
Yeah,
they would send the plans. So they actually also had military surplus record players as well that they would send out. So you would get the record player. And then you would get these, they were actually green, the discs were green. They were 78 RPM, you know, shellac records. And they would be military orders and different military plans and stuff. So you would imagine getting this in. This would be the news that you got, you know. You wouldn't hear anything for a few weeks. You'd be in the trench. Then all of a sudden the mail would come in. You'd get a new record with, you know, do this or do that.
Bro, imagine, like, just think about now compared to back then, like how easy you would just get information.
It's a crazy difference.
Imagine like 3-4 weeks for a fucking letter, bro. I would kill myself, brother. Just waiting to hear what's going on. Bro, you don't have no idea.
Yeah. If you were lucky enough to get the letter, you know.
Bro, I don't know why I just thought about it, but if you can like just make up a conspiracy theory, what would it be?
Something bizarre.
Has to be. Like,
I've come up with some stuff myself though. Sometimes I will be honest. Yeah. There's a little bit of that you'll see going around. But again, I wouldn't say the stuff I've come up with are completely insane. Like, remember last year we had the big earthquake.
Dude,
you know, I started tying that into biblical things as well as with
Cerebral when that happened.
Yeah. You know, so do I believe that stuff could be biblical? Yes. Was I exaggerating maybe a little bit? Yeah. But
who cares?
You know,
could be like Alex Jones with that one thing he was really wrong about.
He was wrong about a lot of things.
Yeah, especially that one thing it was really wrong.
Yeah. He might be really controlled opposition now, too.
Oh, my God, dude.
Everybody's controlled opposition now.
Dude, if Alex Jones has been infiltrated, I don't know what's going on.
It's hard to tell. Especially because you want to trust him. He 1999, Bohemian Grove. Huge.
Dude.
That was huge.
When he... what does that have anything to do with, like, the red shoes or whatever?
It all ties into each other. The Red Shoe Club too.
Yeah, dude.
They have to do that. They have to have those shoes that are made from their first child's birth. You know, that's a sacrifice to the devil. They're all devil worshippers. It's all religion. Everything's religion.
My dad sent me some. I don't even know how my dad saw this video on X, but like he sent me a link, and I just remember the red shoes, and I saw the owl in Bohemian Grove, and I just remember Alex Jones when he broke into there and he was recording. That shit was insane. What these people do to the children, it's evil. And it's all about the children. Disney is low key is really... They're a slim portion of the bigger picture of what's going on. Because these companies and people in Hollywood, especially with the Nickelodeon documentary and Drake Bell and stuff, I didn't watch any of that, but I heard a lot, bro. Yeah. I heard a lot. Terrible what happened. The industry is terrible. Yeah. I've seen it for myself when I was doing the comedy and YouTube stuff. Even people low on the level, they get involved in things they shouldn't get involved in. You know, they start talking about stuff, or they start getting caught with children. You know, 90% of the time it's the children. It's always the children. They're Hollywood is. People like Diddy, you know, he's... I was going to say... FBI informant as well, or Corey Gamble, 100%. Who is Kris Kardashian's new husband. You know what I mean? These people are in high places of status. Even Kanye West said it. He's like, you think the FBI isn't doing surveillance on somebody like me hanging out with the Kardashians who's in the White House doing this, doing that? They are. Oh, do you think he was cloned? Kanye is not the Kanye he was before. I think he was silenced and drugged up. I don't think he's a Kanye on my leg. But he looks different. I think, to give him the benefit of the doubt, he was silenced and drugged up. would not doubt that.
But
Didn't they have a control of his account like they did with like or control of
all of them, all
like
of them,
Britney Spears
every one of
and
them.
who else? Like
That's
all like
different,
all the
but
child stars
terrible
that came
situation.
Up through, like all the child stars that came up, like they all like
90% of them are fucked up. I don't know many people who aren't.
I think Justin Timberlake might be the only.
Yeah, Justin Bieber specifically.
Justin Bieber. Baby.
In the conspiracy world, we've looked at Bieber for years, and a lot of people didn't realize until recently with it, but Diddy is a terrible person. He's also an FBI informant, though. He was able to do the things he did because of his position. And it only lasts so long, just like with Epstein, you know. And again, both of those properties, Epstein Island and Diddy's property, underwater tunnels underneath the homes, you know. These places, they were not what they seemed from above, especially Epstein Island.
The tunnels, bro. I don't know, I just thought about the tunnels that were in Brooklyn.
There's videos, pictures. There's evidence that should put a lot of people away. Democrat or Republican.
Oh, 1,000%.
They're all...
Do you think Diddy's going to get Epstein?
I think there's no way they're going to let him talk.
Oh,
there's no way.
Bro, he has way too much info. On like, just not even like Epstein had like the fucking like epsilon of people, like the high, like 1%. Diddy has the entertainment industry, bro.
Yeah.
Which runs almost everything.
So it's a tough call. It is a tough call. Because Epstein, you know, he was Mossad too. He had dual citizenship, Israel, you know, he had connections. He could have disappeared. Did they actually kill him? We don't know.
Oh, dude.
But I think they're going to...
John McAfee.
John McAfee too. He ran away.
You think he got away? You think he's dead?
I think he's probably dead.
You think so?
But I also think that there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. Like, I've been following him for years, and
I remember you sent me that website.
Yeah, I'm still getting a lot of stuff from him, but never his death switch. So if he really did die, where's the information that he was going to release? He was going to release 61 terabytes of files and documents, and 61 terabytes, it's a lot of fucking information.
Well, I have 2 terabytes for my Xbox. That's a lot.
And think about that, though. We're talking files, documents, and pictures. That's fucking hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of documents. I mean, and incriminating evidence to put people away for a long time.
Yeah, no.
There's enough evidence already to put people away, just from what he's been giving us for years. I've got pictures of Obama with this girl, with George Clooney, Steve Aoki, all these guys, and you follow them, and they're on a boat going to Epstein Island with 2 underage girls. And then you see those underage girls that he's got on a boat are the same underage girls that he's got pictures with in the White House, Obama. And then what do you see? The last picture? It's the girl's corpse. Because this is what they have on each other. They have these pictures of their dead bodies. They're bound up. Videos of screams. And I mean, the videos and the pictures and documents will haunt you beyond anything you would believe. But that should be enough to put him in jail right there. That girl died. That girl is dead. And he was with that girl going to the island on a boat with famous people.
Yeah, all right. Well, everything you're saying, bro, I just remember in the beginning you said that you're not suicidal.
I'm not.
You're in a good mood.
Not. I have plans for my future. A museum. A big museum.
Dude, I want to go to a museum for my birthday. I don't know why I just thought about that. 1,000%. Love museums.
Museums are great.
Shout out museums.
Shout out museums. Private museums. They don't hide stuff in the back like the public ones.
What's a private museum?
People like me. I go up and open my museum. It'd be private. Wouldn't it be like a government museum? So like Civil Historical Society, right? They got a fuck ton of shit, but all the good shit's in the basement. You know, a lot of these public museums and big museums, they can't display everything. There's not enough room. But I want a place that I can fill with everything. You got to see everything. Nothing should be in the back room. Fuck the back room. Every piece of history is important.
I don't think museums have real things either. There's no way.
There's some reproductions that float around. There's some reproductions, I'm sure.
Everything's in the back.
A lot of the time they get donations too, and I feel like they don't check.
No, 1,000%.
Or like you said, you know, they put shit out that's not exactly what it seems to be, and they hide the good shit in the back.
Sorry to interrupt this podcast, but the producer told me I need to tell everyone to like, subscribe, and follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can get the full video version on YouTube. If you like our stuff, share this with a friend. If not, who gives a fuck? Now let's get back into the show. What would you want your museum to focus on, though? Like artifacts?
It would be all antiques.
Antique
radio and TV museum, but also various amount of war items and antique firearms as well.
The war.
Yeah.
Good old WWII.
Yeah. Direct result of everything we're living today, pretty much.
Yeah, deadass, bro.
They lied. The media was owned by them back then, and they are owned today, you know?
Bro, think about the 2 countries that don't have central banking systems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what is it, the Federal Reserve? Isn't that not even
It's all about the
owned
banks.
by the government?
That's a big reason that World War II happened as well. It was a lot about the banks.
It's
They were
all a
breaking
lie.
away. You know, they were breaking away.
Bro, World War One was basically a fucking war against cousins.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
And all it took was one person, Archduke Ferdinand.
Yeah, you know who doesn't love their cousins? The South.
No.
They love them.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it was that assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, yes. Yeah,
That's where it started. And they ended that war terribly. I believe the German people needed that comeback. And the way that it was orchestrated, the way that they signed the treaty in the same train that they signed the Treaty of Versailles, which was terrible for the people of Europe. Absolutely terrible and tyrannical, which they needed to break free from.
It's always the government, or always one person.
It starts somewhere, and most people don't think that what happened back then could really affect today, but it's everything today. It's everything that happens today. From the Civil War to now. Who wins, who loses. It's why everything that's happening is happening, whether it's Ukraine and Palestine, and Israel, and Italy, Poland, whether they're letting in immigrants, they're not letting in immigrants, whether...
That's like the most secure...
There are only two countries you can really go to now in Europe, and that is Poland or Russia. The rest are taken.
Russia's kind of busy right now.
Yeah.
I would definitely go to Russia, though, dude. Moscow looks beautiful when it's not,
It is a gorgeous city. And it's a Christian country, you know. That's how you kind of got to follow around what's going on, you know. Don't look at the country, don't look at the propaganda. They tell you Russia's bad, you know. But Ukraine's stealing all this money, and they're really the bad guys. They're banning the Christian Orthodox religion. They're persecuting Christians in hundreds of thousands. In a lie that they're connected to the Kremlin.
All the money that we spent, like, to all these countries that, like, dude, we have so many problems over here. Like, what about the fire in Hawaii, right?
Well,
and like all the money that we've been sending to Ukraine.
Yeah, we don't get anything for ourselves.
Have rebuilt fucking Malibu.
They'd rather send it out to Ukraine for crimes.
Dude, $770 for each resident of LA, or whoever was affected by the wildfires, which is actually insane because I think they're supposed to get like a lot of more high winds soon.
Yeah.
Which
it's
is
heinous. It's a sin to the people of this country.
Pray for California.
Pray for California, and
pray for LA.
Fuck Newsom. You know, he's a fool. They cut the funding, man, on that fire department. There's a lot more to that whole thing, I believe, too. I think it's going to be similar to the Hawaii thing, that they had plans to build something
Isn't it a
there.
land grab?
It's a land grab.
Like,
I'm curious to see after these fires are all done and within the coming weeks.
Yeah, what do they do with like the land and
well,
shit? Like,
not just that, but similar to Hawaii, after the Hawaii fires, there were dozens of children who went missing as well. So this pedophile thing goes into everything, as well as the blue roof thing and direct energy weapons like Tesla's ray gun, how we were talking a little bit about before and stuff. You know, they have the technology. They blew those houses out for sure, because the only people whose houses didn't get destroyed, at least with Hawaii, was rich and famous people.
I would say any celebrities' houses get damaged?
With the case of LA, celebrities did lose their home.
Yeah.
So, which is a little surprising. So it might not be quite as connected. It could have been as simple as somebody tossing a cigarette.
Dude, people were starting fires. I saw videos.
As well as the arson. Fires. There's a lot of arson.
You have, like, dude, why? Out of all the crimes you could commit, arson on a windy day.
They got lucky, too. You know, the conditions were right. The wind was perfect. Everything was right. They got caught in that fire, and they got caught good. And it was only a matter of time for that to happen. It was bound to happen eventually. And it finally did. So,
yeah, shout out LA. Shout out all the... Oh, my God, dude. Shout out all the homeless. Shout out LA. But, yeah, dude, the fires in LA are actually insane. Our thoughts are with them. For real, my thoughts are.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Speaking of fires, bonfires, dude. How long have I think I met you at a fire, dude. No, that's a terrible,
we probably
that's a terrible fucking segue.
No, that's what it was back in the day. That's what it was.
From LA fires to a fucking bonfire, bro.
We used to have some massive fires in the woods. You know, I was going out. I met you probably.
Shit, bro. Almost like, what, 8 years almost? Nah,
it might be.
No, 6 years.
Shit, it might be 10, bro.
It might be.
2025 now. Time be flying.
Jesus.
I was fucking like a freshman in high school going out into those wood fires, you know, in the woods with those guys and the boys. Whether it was Jackson, you know, down at Reed Road, or it was Moonpit, fucking Party
Dude,
Hill,
no, we used to have really wild times.
the
at Moonpit.
field.
Moonpit used to be the shit.
Rest in peace to the field. Rest in peace to Moonpit.
Rest in peace to
Rest in
Moonpit,
peace to all of it.
dude. Rest in peace to you can't do shit
No,
anymore.
it's
You
done.
can't go to
It's all
Jackson.
done.
Like, all right, people still do go down to Jackson and do like the wheeling and shit, but like,
It ain't what it was.
I'm not. Yeah, no, it's not what it was at all, dude.
We lived it at its absolute fucking peak. I think
Yeah,
we did some shit that we
I think we really did.
beyond
honestly.
like.
Yeah, kids don't really go out and do that shit
No,
anymore, bro.
not like we
kids don't out
did.
and go drive their.
No.
Well, maybe they do. I could be
Go
100%
pound a
wrong.
pack of beer
I am,
and
like,
fucking
older
go
now.
100 miles an hour down
Dude,
a fucking back road.
holy
You hit a tree, you're
shit,
fucking dead. The
bro.
amount of times we flipped, almost killed ourselves or something. Like,
Bro, nah, for real, dude. Those even like at Hitchens' house, bro, in the backyard, that shit used to be lit as fuck. But like Moonpit,
Yeah.
I have vivid. Honestly, I don't want to sound corny, but like pretty amazing memories of Moonpit.
Yeah.
Bro. All right, my boy. Well, thank you so much for coming out here.
yo,
coming on the
thank
show,
you.
bro.
Thank you for having me.
Where can they find you? Plug in your socials, plug in the page,
Yo,
plug in
Sideburns on
everything.
Instagram, the Larn Boys Show on YouTube, Instagram, every platform. Check us out. Check out the Psycho series. Check out me, Jimmy Choo, and all the crazy shit we've been doing. Check out January 6th. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. I look forward to another good conversation soon.
Definitely.
Because
We're
we always have a good one.
We literally got just like, I feel like we talked about one thing for like,
Yeah.
it's always a great conversation regardless though. Yeah, dude, thanks for coming out here. Thanks for coming to talk, shoot the shit, Everyone, thanks for watching. If you liked what you saw, you could find us Instagram at the Brandan Podcast. You can like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Share with a friend. See you next time. Deuces.
So good. This is dedicated to all the kids like me.
How does his son continue?